Hello, good morning. In this is the last video for this series where we have started the application called face verification system. We have started from the whiteboarding part where we actually went ahead and started whiteboarding what we wanted to do for the face verification system. Then we went ahead local development where we have using the vibe coding we have done the front end part, we have done the back end part, we have used the S3 to deploy our preloaded images, and we have used the AWS recognition in order to validate the preloaded images that have been received from the front end and to check whether this preloaded images is Tejas or not. This was the whole system that we have developed. In previous videos, we have deployed the backend in as a Lambda, as AWS Lambda. There was also API gateways. We have faced a live over time. We have faced certain issues, and we have seen how we have debugged that. And after debugging, we understood that there was package issues. There was issues with respect to access for the Lambda, and so on and so forth. And today, the last part of this tutorial would be actually deploying the front end application where it's right now in localhost. If you remember, it is still running in the localhost 3000, and let me quickly show. Yeah, so it is still running in the localhost 3000, and the front end application where we have hooked the backend URL, which is the API gateway slash the API endpoint from the AWS Lambda, which is verify endpoint, and it is invoking the backend. And whenever we click, it is actually making a backend call and trying to validate from the preloaded images and see whether the verified image is Tejas or not. The whole system has the whole backend system is good now. So let's kick start for the front end deployment now. For this, I'll quickly ask, let's say ChatGPT, or since I want to do the vibe coding, I don't want to start it from the scratch. There is this feature, by the way, if you just click and then you come back here, it asks you to do work with code tab. I'm asking the app.js for my front end React app. I need to deploy to AWS using Terraform. Please provide step-by-step approach. I could use the Claude, I could use any of the AI models or AI agents. So, okay, it says me high level architecture, S3 bucket, stores the React static application, CloudFront distribution for CDN plus HTTPS, bucket policy to allow the CloudFront access, Route 53 for the custom DN domain name. This we can see at last. Do we really need to add the domain name or Route 53 part? All managed via Terraform. Okay, let's go. I already have installed the Terraform version V, and build your React app. Okay, so here is the commands. So I'll quickly stop this guy. I'll use the terminal which is in the VS Code itself, npm run build. So it is building my React application in the build folder. Build is done. This is the folder where which I can just put it inside the S3 static file. So what am I trying to do now? I'm trying to build like how we had the dist folder, or and even in the backend where we have zipped it previously, and later we have taken that and deployed as an S3 static file. Similarly for the front end application itself as well, since it is a static overall the static project, I can deploy it in the S3 itself. That's the whole idea. That means I'm deploying the front end in AWS S3, right? That's the whole idea. I've built it. This creates the build. Yeah. This file goes to S3. That, as I've said, Terraform project. Okay. Infra. I need to create. It is asking me to create an infra folder main.terraform variables.terraform output.terraform and providers.terraform. Okay. Okay. So this has given me a dedicated structure. It is asking me to create an infra. It is asking me to create. First, let me go with providers.terraform. No, I don't want to use AP South 1. This is not my favorite geolocation. It is always US East 1. US East 1. US East 1. US East 1. It is asking me in the main.tf, in the main.terraform file. Hmm. In the main Terraform file, we are creating AWS S3 bucket. I'll quickly zoom in a bit so that it is much more easier to read, guys. So here is where this is too much. This looks fine. So here is where we are trying to say that AWS S3 bucket, React site, bucket name is Tejas React Frontend Prod. Okay, this is the bucket name that will be created. Tag, okay, it uses a tag. That's fine. AWS S3 bucket policy, React site. So it is also ensuring the required bucket policies that are there, like making the bucket as public policy as true, ignoring the public ACLS. Okay, and then it is applying the required policies to the S3 bucket to make it public hosted. Upload the React build file. Terraform can, okay, so Terraform can upload the static file. Yeah, upload the React build file. So this step would ensure I am going to the file system dot build. That means I'll go here, take this file system completely for each, and then I would go to the source, and then I would put those file inside, like it is taking from this and then deploying it into the S3. Terraform, put the static file. I just write commands to help me to create the cloud formation distribution, the CDN part, right? And just say cdn.terraform. Wow. cdn.terraform. Now here it says AWS CloudFront distribution, the CDN part. It has enabled it. Domain name S3 bucket. Okay. React S3 origin. It has added the required protocols, allowed methods, which is get. I'm just using the get from the CDN part. Verification certificate true. Geolocation restriction type none. Okay. So required CDN. then allow the CloudFront to read S3. Mhm. Attach bucket policies. So this I'll just say policy dot terraform. No, this is for my S3 itself. Where did I write my S3? Yeah, I can copy paste here. I don't want to. I'll delete it. So here I say bucket policy, React policy. I'm adding the S3 policy, the bucket policy for S3. The S3 should be able to do the get object part. Then I need to have the output.terraform, one more file, output.terraform, where the value of CloudFront distribution.react CDN domain name has been assigned to a variable called value. Okay, and then I need to go to inside the infra folder. So I am inside the infra folder. I have all the Terraform files, and then it is asking me to do Terraform init here. Quickly to go back and check main.terraform build folder output providers. Okay, I'll do Terraform init. So if you see the Terraform init, it is trying to initialize. It is trying to initialize the front end, initializing the back end, initializing the provider plugins. Okay, this has initialized successfully. Terraform init is done. Terraform plan. Now it will give me the plan, what it will go and do. Terraform encountered an error while generating this plan. It is saying that in the providers.terraform, retrieving caller identity STS operation, get caller identity, get response, status code 403 requesting, API invalid token, the security token included restriction is invalid. I don't know whether my AWS configure is still valid, so let me try to log in first. AWS login. I am able to log in. AWS S3 LS. Yeah, you see invalid key. Let me quickly generate the access key for my user account for my IAM role. As I always say in my class, I'll quickly generate this user credentials, and then I'll delete that. That doesn't mean that this would be there. So even though someone is trying to use my credentials, I'm sorry, I'll be deleting it. So I'll quickly do AWS configure. This is done. So the secret access key as well. This is done. The secret access key has been pasted. US East one, JSON. This looks good. Continue. The access key is created. So now again when I do AWS login, it does say, now it should not give me, yeah. So it is able to fetch my S3 bucket, complete list of all my S3 buckets, right? So it isn't. Now when I do Terraform plan, let's see. Hmm, the error is gone. The error was as simple as the invalid key, right? It was not able to my AWS, my local machine. So I am in here. My local machine was not able to connect to the AWS S3. That was the issue. The Terraform, which is running in my local machine, was not able to connect to S3, and I have to configure that. So now I just need to do Terraform apply. So 18 plans has been added. This would create the required S3 objects, it would create the CDNs, required accesses, so on and so forth. All these activities would be done now. Pretty excited? Uh, I will open the S3 first to see whether it is creating the required buckets. Now you have all AWS region here. General purpose bucket. Previously, this tag I haven't seen much. Okay, I'll just say creation date. It has created Tejas React front end prod. That's a good symbol. It has all my build folder, whatever was there in my build folder, static, all the required index.html, blah blah blah, properties. S3 static web hosting is still disabled. I remember, was it not enabled? So let it create. It is still creating. I mean, it is, the Terraform is still applying onto my AWS permissions, bucket policy, ACL. Now, instead of localhost 3000, I would have an actual URL where I can hit, right? That was the whole point. So it is creating the AWS CloudFront now. Let me quickly go and check that as well. CloudFront, the CDN part. There are different plannings that it says. Hmm. They just React front. Oh. It says putting S3 bucket, Tejas React front and prod, policy operation error, S3 put bucket policy, HTTP1 error, status code 403, request ID, host ID, user is not authorized to perform the. Mhm, mhm. So the with the bucket policy, I think there is some issue. So AWS S3 bucket policy with AWS S3 bucket policy dot react policy. Something with this. The issue is okay. Let me try to check with my vibe coder main.terraform. Let me give the error and see what it says. Your error is exactly what AWS is supposed to do when the block policy is enabled. So the block policy is true. Terraform is trying to attach the public bucket policy, but your bucket has block policy as true. So AWS rejects the policy to 40. This is not Terraform problem, it is an S3 security rule conflict. Why this happens? Your bucket is private, which is good. Block policy public is true, good, but the policy principle is star. This is a public policy. You told me to block public policy, but now you're adding one, resulting in access denied. Do not make do not make bucket public. Instead, allow CloudFront using the okay. So it is asking me not to make the bucket public. Rather, I should allow the CloudFront to use the origin access control OAC. This is a modern AWS best practice. So it's asking me to remove the public policy, delete this entire resource AWS S3 policy. Okay, AWS S3 bucket policy, React policy, because public policies are incompatible with your security setting. I'm trying to make, I'm trying to, it is asking me to remove this entire S3 bucket policy, React policy, remove the public policy, okay, and create a cloud formation origin access. Mhm. So it is asking me to CDN. I have already added AWS CloudFront, okay, the origin access part. So I'm trying to ensure the AWS CloudFront origin access. Attach this origin access to CloudFront origin domain name S3 site, bucket regional domain name, origin ID is already there, React S3 origin access control, AWS CloudFront uh, origin access control ID. This is not there. So origin access control ID. This links the CDN origin to the React OAC, the one which I created just now. Add bucket policy, the one which I commented, the bucket policy part. Instead of making it public, where did it go? Instead of making it public, S3 bucket policy, I would make sure it is React, it is giving the access to the CDN. So bucket remains private, block public policy remains true. Only CloudFront can read the object, which is CDN part, and AWS security model is satisfied. Just to give you the view here, just to explain one more time what I did. Suppose, let me add myself. Let me try to do that if I can do it. If there is a user, I've taken a screenshot of myself. If there is a user which is trying to, oops, if there is a user which is trying to connect or access the React app which is in front end, I'm not letting it do that. Rather, there is a fat guy over here called CDN, and I'm allowing CDN, which is the CloudFront, AWS CloudFront. So now it goes via CDN, and then CDN would speak with my S3, right? That's the whole idea. That's the whole idea. So zoom in a bit. So now any user who is trying to access to the React front end, rather it should go via CDN, because this is no more public. It only CDN can only read this, and it has the access. And then I'll go via CDN. This is what I did. So bucket remains private. As I said, bucket remains private. Pol- Block public policy remains true. So it is have blocked the public access. It still remains true. Only the CloudFront can read the object. So the CDN can only read the object. And this suffice. The AWS security model is satisfied. Quick mental model, internet. So from the internet, that was me, the photo which I've taken, to S3, it's public. It's a bad thing. That means we should not let the user directly access. It should not let the user directly access this. This is a bad approach. That's what it says. Internet S3 to public. Rather, a correct way is internet to CloudFront to S3. So internet to CDN CloudFront to S3, right? This is just to give the mental mapping. It's AWS Cloud Front. Keep it down. I'll make it medium size. I'll change the color. Send it to back. Right, this was the whole part which I did now. Now I would do Terraform plan again. Terraform apply. Yes, to add one change. So it is still applying, by the way. So applied complete, resources to added, one change, zero destroyed. And it has even the CloudFront URL as well. So let's see in action what exactly has happened. So the bucket, I have the bucket now. The permissions, which was crucial, I only give the access. I don't do it star like to everyone and bucket policies star and all. I don't do that. Rather, it is to the CloudFront distribution. Let me go to the CloudFront distribution, CDN, the one which is created now. Everything you need a sim for a simply monthly price. Okay. Security, the ARN. You see, this is the right ARN. This is attached here. So I'm giving the access. I'm giving the access or the permissions for the bucket policy to only allow it to this CDN, the CloudFront, and this is the ARN. Security origin, it's React origin, the origin access looks good. Behavior, redirect HTTP to HTTPS. So I would not have, if I would have done this part where I would have directly accessed this, it would have been HTTP. So now since it is to the CDN, it is HTTPS, that's what it says. HTTP, redirect HTTP to HTTPS. Error page, individual logging, default status disabled, distribution status enabled. Looks good. CDN part, access part as well looks good. Properties. I have not, since it is not directly exposing it to S3 static web hosting, this has been disabled. Okay, let me get back here. Once I have done the Terraform apply, I got an error as well that was resolved now. Access, open https colon double slash and then CloudFront URL. CloudFront URL. HTTPS. I'll close my local host. Distribution domain dot name. Is this the one? No, this is downloading it. Where is the domain URL? The domain name, right? It is, should have been HTTPS CloudFront URL. Here it is. The CloudFront URL. Oops. Why does it say download? What? Why does it say download the access your React app with https colon double slash CloudFront URL optional procedure to make. Okay, why this is preferred. Okay, the CloudFront URL is not opening the React app, rather it is downloading a. Let me see what it says. We looked at the code, focused on selected from. Was then an error? That doesn't seem so. Okay, missing content type. Without this, the index.html is stored as binary file, so CloudFront is as a download. Okay, so it is asking me that update your S3 object resources. So it says the AWS S3 object React file build double slash the bucket key source dub, dot slash build slash each value e tag content type. Okay, so it is asking me to add the content type lookup. Hmm. So let me add this to this. So it is creating the content type lookup for each of the HTML, CSS and all which is present under index.html under the build folder. So Terraform apply. Mhm. The CloudFront URL, the same. It says still the download. What's going here? Keep. Let me see what's there in this. isn't the index dot it is just opening this index.html. You need a enable. Why is my index.html look like this when I build it? It is trying to open the index.html. That's what I see from the finder. Um, and when I have opened this download folder, you need to enable your JavaScript, blah blah blah. Let me ask chat, is my build correct? Yes, your React app. Correct. Problem with leading slash in CloudFront. This works only when your app is hosted at. So it is asking me the path. Problem with the leading slash in CloudFront plus S3. With leading slash in CloudFront plus S3. Static slash JS slash. Okay. Hmm. This works only when your app is hosted at. But CloudFront plus S3 origin behaves like. Most important, correct production for React on S3 CloudFront. React should generate a relative path, not the root path. Fix in packet.json. It is asking me to fix. Okay. Your app private true version 0.0. It is asking me as home page. Okay. There is no home page per se. So I need to add home page here so that it takes the relative path apparently. Do npm run build, npm run build. Now your index.html will become, okay, under build index.html will become static slash, okay. No, it is still source. Okay, how to, maybe I'll quickly check running the build folder locally and then I would try to deploy it. It says static slash js slash main dot something, but it is still dot slash. Previously, what was it? Previously it was slash static, it was not taking the relative path. Now after the build, maybe I'll quickly do npm run build. Now when I see it is dot slash static, so this path has changed, right? It has made it dot slash dot slash dot slash by adding this home page dot. Okay, the I have built the project. Now I need to redeploy it. Terraform apply. I hope it has detected there is a change in the build folder and it would redeploy the S3 plan 3. Okay, force destroy false null. CloudFront URL again. Yeah. Okay, so this has opened the front end app. Now it has captured the image, it is verifying, and it is working fine. Let's go. I'm really, really happy. The application works as expected, following all the good architectural protocols for the front end that we have seen. We have seen an issue with the CDN part. We have seen how the relative uh, path was not being able to take at index.html, and we were able to debug it with the vibe coding and able to fix that. Small fixes as simple as home page dot, and then we are going via CDN to our deployed S3. No more it is running in um, no more this has been running locally, by the way. Nothing is running locally, nothing is running locally, right? This has all been deployed live right now. And yeah, I can still capture myself, and you see verified URL pages. So the complete system works as expected, the overall architecture as well. Thank you so much. I would try to publish all of this onto my GitHub account. You will get the URL links, the front end URL link, the GitHub link, the backend link. Ensure that you are trying to do exactly or follow the steps exactly what I did. In case if you are able to encounter the issues and fix it before me, well and good. Or you can fast forward the video and get to see the complete architecture and get to see the complete deployment strategy, so on and so forth, right? Thank you so much for being there till this end, and yeah, have a great day. Bye.